Hello.
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 Hello, Facebook.
We're back.
This is our third Mentoring Matters. So for those of you who are new here, we are the staff and special guest of All Things Made New. We are a mentoring program, but so much more. We also do case management and support and empowerment programs for kids aged 12 to 18 and young adults. I'm Kayla Parker. I'm the development director. We have Michelle Flores, our executive director. I'm pointing as if that's where she is in everyone's.
Me?
Probably not at all. We have Devin Rodriguez, our programs coordinator, and Aisha Mullen, our family and community engagement coordinator. We also have an amazing special guest. Her name is Maggie Fardella. Say hi, Maggie.
Hi, how are you?
Great. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist and counselor for a school district. So, speaking of school districts, why we're here, it's why we have this amazing, brilliant special guest. The school year is about to start. Am I right, Devin?
Absolutely.
Devin's been in the office for this school year already. So all you teachers out there, you already know the school year is upon us. It's gonna look really different probably than any other school year we've ever seen in general. And what we want to talk about today is what we can do as adults in these youth's lives to help them during this school year. So no more introductions. I'm going to send it off to Michelle for our first topic question.
Yes. So thinking back to what our kids went through in the spring and how they felt overwhelmed or discouraged or hopeless, how can we as adults, parents, role models support these kids as they start again online, but with a lot more support and planning on the school district side? How can we encourage them and allow them to cultivate hope and optimism when they already feel so just over it? Thoughts?
I mean, that's a big question, guys.
It is. But it's what they're facing. You know, it's they left the school year feeling like what just happened, and then they start with it thinking they don't really have any frame of reference for that except for what they've already experienced. So how can we cultivate that? Maggie, what do you think?
Well, I think one of the things that I had thought about was just the importance of relationship building with their parents. And I think, like we discussed earlier, just letting them know that we're all going through this at the same time. This is all new territory for all of us. And, you know, to offer ourselves the same grace that we want to offer our kids, just reassuring them that they can talk to us about certain things, and maybe even setting the time that we can be intentional to you know, have our students, our kids come to us and meet, maybe make some, you know, decisions as far as like what this is going to look like, you know, set up some parameters and boundaries, let them know that, you know, this is going to be a lot of trial and error, so maybe leave room for that, so they can trust that they don't have to do it perfectly. So
Yeah.
I liked the idea of including the kids in the decision-making process. Because that's, I think sometimes we just get so caught up in like, things need to happen and they need to happen now and everything is a little chaotic. And so I need to just take control and make things the way they need to be. But allowing the kids to have a say, because this is what they're going through too, I think is really, it can be a game changer probably for the kids involved.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think that's just so, I think it's so funny because, you know, like when you say have a choice or have a decision, it's like, or be a part of the decision making. I feel like a lot of the kids, many kids, might not necessarily had a choice in the matter of whether or not they go face to face or if they go virtual. And I think so anytime that we can incorporate decisions for them, that's critical, just because, you know, their emotions could possibly be all over the place because they might be doing or having learning in a setting that they might not have chosen for themselves because of situations where they have to have it one way. So I think grace is important, and also, just like you said, being a part of the decision making. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, and just to piggyback on that, even just think of the empowering that they feel when they have a voice and when their voice is heard. Because a lot of the times we're so busy, we're going through the motions of just trying to get all the things done and changing the tide with every new piece of information that comes. And so they just feel like they're a pawn on a chessboard sometimes. So giving them that voice, and that elevates their leadership. And that's a huge life skill for them to be an advocate for, you know, current and future situations. That's awesome.
And I think going along with that, I think also when we allow our kids, and it's going to be age appropriate, because I know we have littles to, you know, high schoolers, but when they have a part of the decision making, then that allows them to take ownership. And so it's not just being obedient or following the rules, like you know, Dee Dee said. They're allowed to have input, and then you know, if it doesn't work out well, or if they succeed, that they can take credit for it, and or go back to the table and try something different.
Right. I love what you just talked about, because that's just like, that aligns with the growth mindset. And so, you know, when you get knocked down or when you face adversity, getting back up and just appreciating the strides, appreciating the progress, and not always having to have a win the first time, but realizing that after, you know, so many losses, you're going to win. You know, the odds are going to be in your favor because you practice, and you know, practice hard work and just, you know, positive things. If that's a part of their daily schedule, a part of your daily talk, that's just going to be really important for the students, for sure. And having a growth mindset to where, you know, you might not have done it, you know, perfect today, and that's okay, but tomorrow you will do better because we work hard, you know?
Absolutely. And to remember that failure is a precursor for success. You learn by making mistakes and trying again. So just like Maggie, you were saying about having grace for themselves and, you know, trying things and not feeling like they have to get it right the first time, but learning and being resilient, because resilience, let's talk about resilience in this day and age. That's hard for our kiddos, right?
Hard for everyone, if I'm gonna.
Oh
As an
my
adult,
gosh.
right? That's what I was thinking as an adult.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think
I have a question.
Yeah.
Question. Okay. So Miss Maggie, what do you suggest, or what do you think about, like, the importance of brain breaks? Because there's a lot of virtual learning obviously going on, and what do you feel like that's important for students?
What were you asking?
For brain breaks, like for students with the virtual learning. Do you feel like
for taking time out?
Yes.
Oh, I definitely think it's important. I think just like we're supposed to train up our child to their bent, I think we also have to, knowing our kids, because even if you have multiple children, they're not all going to be the same. And so knowing them, you kind of have to get a feel for how they are and how they work best, because I think some kids are really thriving in the environment of virtual learning. And I think others are really struggling because they don't know how to utilize this time. You know, they don't have, you know, good time management skills, or they just don't have the discipline. I mean, I tell my students all the time, if I were 14 and in high school and doing virtual learning, I think it would be a huge epic fail for me. I could learn from it. I think that goes back to the term resiliency, is that I think a lot of this is asking ourselves as parents, like, what do we want our kids to learn? Because if it's just completing their assignments and staying on task, I mean, that's good, and that'll help them in the long run. But I think these are also opportunities to teach our children about their character development, definitely skills that will help them when they launch and they're more independent, because we want them to be independent. I think the thing that I see that worries me the most is that there's so many kids that are getting so comfortable, although they don't like the loneliness and they don't like not talking to their friends, they're getting so comfortable with being online that they say they don't want to go back to school. And I think a lot of that is because they feel like they can eliminate anxiety and drama and stress. But I think part of being in an environment, whether it's your home or your school or your work environment, is to learn how to live well with other people and how to grow in those areas of strength. And so going back to your original question about brain breaks, I think it's knowing your child and knowing what works for them. And as I had suggested to Michelle, you know, when you have these family meetings to kind of make these decisions and everybody has their input, follow it up with like a meeting in 1 or 2 weeks when they've had time to implement these things and say, hey, you know, taking this break for 30 minutes was really helpful, or, you know, no, I actually do better with smaller breaks, or when I'm able to do my work in 30 minutes, then I feel motivated because I have this, you know, this time of privilege, you know, to do whatever I want for a limited amount of time before I go on to my next subject.
So I guess communicating to themselves or communicating with their
Right.
that, you know, and it being okay to advocate for themselves. So that's
Right.
That's awesome.
For sure.
And I think even with that, what about like consistency with that? You know, like having a routine and, you know, having predictability, because when there's some predictability, it allows them to thrive a little bit more than not knowing what to expect with schedules. You know, wake up at 8 o'clock today and 1 o'clock tomorrow, or, you know, things like that, just that routine. If you want to speak to that, that portion of it, Maggie.
Yeah, I think routine, and like you said, I like the word predictability, because I mean, even for small children, they need to be able to predict certain things because it helps them to feel safe. And I think our kids need that too, in order to feel safe and in order to know what their parameters are and to be able to control what is within that. Because I think especially at this time, there's a lot that we can't control, but maybe helping them focus on the things that they can, like input and decision making, like making decisions that they know are going to work for their best. Like knowing, like one of you suggested, like having an opportunity to come talk with their parents, and kind of say, hey, this is not working for me, or I'm really struggling here, and being approachable so that your kids will feel safe talking to you, because right now they don't really have a lot of resources, you know, other than us or maybe people that they're texting or gaming with. So we want to make sure that we are people that they can trust and love them. We may not agree with them, but we're going to predict that they can come to us and that they can trust us, and then we're going to be consistently there for them.
Yeah, I think that the predictability they will for sure have this year, because these schedules that are coming out for the virtual learning, there is a nice good schedule for them for sure. And it's for my son specifically, like, you know, they'll wake up at any time and, you know, hang out and play. And it's going to be something to get them back in that schedule and that groove, because, you know, come Wednesday, they definitely have a class to report to at 8 o'clock. So.
I had a quick question, and this could go out to the whole group, and it deals kind of with like maybe some of the people we get to work with every day. So not only is there maybe this sort of uncertainty when it comes to school, but because of the pandemic, other stressors are happening in a lot of our families' lives. Aisha, I know you see a lot of it happening, like job loss, home insecurity, things like that. And that can cause a lot of stress for the adults in these kids' lives. What can we do to ensure that the stress that the adults are going through might not directly impact the youth as much, to make sure that they know that they're still taken care of? Or I don't know, I'm not entirely sure how to frame the question, but I hope you can kind of see where I was going.
Oh, I think so. I think one of the things that is definitely helpful would be for parents to kind of, like you said, in some regard, keep a pulse on how they are feeling, so that they can address any of those stressors. I mean, kids are looking to their parents, of course. I think, for safety, like that's their safety zone and their comfort. So I think it's just as important for parents to be mindful of the routines that they set for themselves, whether it be their own self-care routine, relying on their community resources and supports, whether it be, other parents that they can kind of discuss their concerns about what to expect going back to school, just in the way that we're encouraging our kids to advocate for themselves, same for the parents, really tapping into what they're feeling. Because I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, like we're all going through this together and it's adjustment for everyone. Some of us are handling it and thriving through it really well, and others are struggling. So just tapping into that awareness and relying on supports is going to be really important too.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, Maggie, when you said that some kids, this didn't even occur to me that you said some kids were actually thriving in this environment. I'm such an extrovert that blows my mind. I'm like, no, I desperately need human like contact. But that makes sense. I guess what my worry would be is that you would assume like your kids are working on their schoolwork and they're getting through the day. Maybe you don't have as strong of a relationship with your kid as you would have had. Everyone has very busy lives. What are some like signs you can look out for that maybe your kid isn't thriving as much in this environment, or they're having more trouble than they're maybe telling you initially?
Um, I think if, from my perspective, I think one of the things that I hear a lot is just how much kids isolate in their room. And
Mm,
so I think going back to technology and predictability, I always encourage, and I mean, some children are and students are more mature than others, but I encourage having like a central location where kids do their work. I think a lot of times parents are very permissive because they want to think the best of their kids to go into their room to do their work, but there's just so many distractions and so many pings and so many, things that come up. I mean, I know myself with, I tend to have parameters around social media because I can lose an hour without even thinking about it. And so if they're more enticed with their social media or their games than they are their games or their classwork, then more likely time is going to fly and they're still going to feel behind and they're going to get discouraged. So I think maybe having a set time where your kids come out of their room when they're not doing schoolwork, to spend time as a family. There are lots of, resources on conversation starters if parents really don't have that connection or that bond, but they want to grow that connection with them. Just little questions to ask, like, what was your high? What was your low? To something like, tell me about the funnest experience you've ever had, and just kind of going around. And I think that builds a bond between the family and it increases communication, because I know with me, if I start talking on one topic, then I start going on another tangent. By the time you know it, especially with girlfriends, like 4 hours have passed by and you're like, whoa, where'd the time go? So it can start off with something small, but just getting them out of their room.
That's good.
Good, yeah.
I think tying in what Aisha said about like tapping into your community, like tapping into those resources, don't feel like you're going at it alone. That kind of ties back into kind of creating your own little community in your home. Like maybe the kids always had like 12 million extracurriculars and you both worked, both parents worked. And so you never saw each other very much during the day. Well, now you see each other a lot. And I guess it's time
Yeah.
to start like making those connections. To find the people and the resources in your life that you can rely upon, because you shouldn't do this alone. Nobody should be going through any of this alone, I guess.
Yeah, and to create a community, we give out activity packs to our kids and families, or if any of you watching would like an activity pack, we'd be happy to mail you one. But it has just activities, art supplies, board games, just things to do together that are not technology, but that just can kind of bring some joy and fun and something new to your life, just to try and to experience, and not just to throw the time away, but to invest the time into something that they might enjoy and find a new hobby in, or a new skill or a new trade or something like that. And so just, yeah, you definitely utilizing those resources. I know that there's a lot of art programs that are putting together art distribution packs and things like that, and so just using those resources that are readily available to people in our community to use.
Yeah, if you don't know the resources, you can contact us. We will connect you with the resources.
Right.
We will.
Yeah, if you're in the DFW area, we know people.
We'll connect you.
Definitely. Yeah, okay. So for me, I think as a parent, I'm not a parent, but if I was a parent, um, I would want to know sort of what are some things that I can do to help myself be better at supporting the kids. Like what can I do for myself that can help me be better to support the kids during their time at home, potentially working on school stuff.
I would say your self grace.
Self breaks? I can do
I
that.
would say, well, I said grace. Yeah, I would say grace. You're
Grace, same thing.
Grace.
Yeah.
right, right. Because
No, it's gonna.
you're not perfect and it's a lot. And I remember, when we were out during the spring with my two children, one was in preschool, one was in second grade, and just feeling like, I mean, and I'm an educator, and feeling like I was trying to catch up every day and trying to, make sure that they were learning the same way or the best way. And I felt that pressure of having to make the connections for them. And I felt like it was going to be all on me if something happened and he didn't learn this one skill today. So there were different schedules and just, I would just say have grace because, no, we're not perfect, but you being there, being there for them, speaking words of affirmation to them and loving on them, and just connecting them, like, you guys have stated, is a lot. That's, what they need more than anything. So I would just say have grace for yourself, because when you have grace for yourself, there's going to be a positive energy that you create from that, and they're going to feel that. And with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's like the main thing. That's what those babies need. And my babies, that's what they need. So I got to give myself.
Yeah, and
Self-care.
totally. And then tapping in, like following up with that. I had a friend tell me, like, one day I was feeling discouraged. It's okay. Feel your feelings. Like, feel your feelings. If you're mad, if you're sad, if you're frustrated, if you're disappointed, like, feel your feelings and don't just try to like keep pushing through them, because it just drags them out. So if your kid's feeling a feeling, if you're feeling a feeling, feel it, like, process through that. Yeah.
And I also think it helps to normalize just the fact that it's okay to feel sad. So if they see mommy or daddy feeling down, they can realize, like, okay, it is okay for me to feel X, Y, and Z. So it helps just to bring some normalization around all of the different emotions that, we can experience on any given day, because it can fluctuate just depending upon, what the day looks. But I would also add to grace, it's self-care. I think it's equally important for parents to take care of, self. They're probably going to also need some of those brain breaks as well. For some of the parents don't necessarily have the opportunity to have an additional support for, income. And so they're likely working a lot, trying to balance their work schedule with, their child's schedule. That's a lot. So trying to find little ways that they can also just honor what they need emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. I think it's going to be really huge, and just kind of helps to give space and opportunity for their child to follow suit and do the same, because they're going to be looking to their parents. How are their parents responding to all of this too? We want them to take care of themselves as well. So self-care.
Yeah.
There are a couple of little quick things that, are easy to remember, but one is, more is caught than taught. And then the other one I remember from a parenting group, and my son was really young and he's in high school now, is it's not do as I say, not as I do. It's monkey see, monkey do. So just like Aisha said, they're looking at us. And so that can be, really convicting. It can feel like a lot of pressure, but I think it's okay to just let go. I mean, even in preparation, because we all need like a troubleshoot plan. So even in advance, hey, what should we do when we're having those moments? Like, is there a code word? Is there like I'm going to tickle you, and you can modify it for the older teens. Although I think the older teens, even though they might be like whatever, might actually get a kick out of just that little bit of connection. And those, I think, are the things that they'll remember once, they're even gone from the house. Hey, remember when we were in COVID and we used to have those little tickle fights? Or, I had a really great friend of mine. She gave me a wedding gift, and they were 3 mugs. So it's my husband, my son, and I, and they each were different colors, same mug. But she said, one tradition they started is that those were just code. Like, so if the white mug was there with the blue mug and I didn't put it out there, that my son wanted to have that time to talk with me, or vice versa. But you can modify it, to where there's those little cues that we look for to stop and say, hey, my kid needs me right now, or I need my spouse right now.
That's good.
That is
That's good, especially when you don't have the words, or you don't feel like you
Right.
have the energy to articulate that. It's just a cue. That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm gonna go 3 cups right now when we're done. I'm gonna go 3.
You get 4, girl. You get 4.
Yeah.
4.
It could be a stuffed animal. It could be, you know, whatever, 2 Hot Wheel cars, whatever you need, whatever you have.
Yeah.
Love it.
It
Love
can be hard to ask for that time, especially if you see everyone so busy. It can be hard to be like, hey, I need that
Right.
time with you.
Because you
Right?
feel guilty, or you just don't want to, pride gets in the way, and we don't want to be like, hey, I
Right.
want to spend time with you, or, we feel like they're too busy. They're too busy for me. I know that I sometimes feel like my kids think that about me. Like, Mommy, you're just so busy. And it's like, but I'm not too busy for you. Like, but I need you to tell me. And so, working on giving them that voice as well, of just being like, it's okay to stop and come give me a hug or something like that.
We have a comment.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
Our very first comment. Bob said, my kids, now 40 and 36, love talking about the things we did when they were growing up. So
Aw,
tickle
I
fight
love
all
Hi,
the way.
Bob. Hi, Bob.
That is awesome.
But yeah, it's creating those memories.
They don't have to be high dollar. It's just intentionality.
Right.
It's all about stopping, pausing, and being intentional.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
was
like that
talking
word.
to
I
my
was thinking
son-
that earlier.
Yeah, I was talking to my the other day. I was washing dishes and I just stopped and I said, would you guys rather pancakes or waffles? Would you rather it be really hot or really cold? And they were just so excited. Oh, they were like, we get to play a would you rather game. And I'm like, what are y'all? This is silly. But it meant everything to them just to have that connection in that time that I stopped what I was doing to connect with them off something that's free and literally are like questions.
Right. So all that to say, we would love to put together a little blog post of ideas of ways for your family. I'm totally putting something together for us.
Feel it.
Of ideas of ways to connect, so that it doesn't take the hard part away of trying to find something, but it's quick little easy 5-second interjections throughout your day.
Yeah. We play word games in our house. Our last big one was coming up with funny different YouTube jokes. So it's like, what a ghost watch, boo tube. What is yabba dabba doo tube. And you'd be surprised how many out there are.
Oh, well, when I moderate the boys group, the boys small groups, when it's lingering time between like when they log on and when we break out into the small groups, I have a book of riddles, and some of them, they like live for those riddles. Like, they'll log on to our small groups early because they're like, Michelle, what's the riddle for the day? And they'll just like crack up laughing. And so it's just, things like that can just be mimicked. It's not, has nothing to do with me saying it. It's just the engagement of it. So absolutely, we can come up with some fun things.
Middle school girls, you will have riddles tomorrow.
They love riddles.
Tomorrow.
They love.
Step up your game, girl.
Showing me up. That's funny.
I love it.
That is funny.
Well, we are nearing the end of our time.
Yes, can we share what next month is going to be? We're so excited.
So
Yes.
before that, I'm going to give you guys a prompt to end us on, but I'm going to give you time to think about it while I talk about next month and like everything, all this real at the end. So I want you guys to all think, because I think self-care is thrown out there a lot, and sometimes it means one thing to one person, another thing to another person. I want you all to think about what your favorite self-care action is to share with everyone, so that we can maybe get some more ideas. Bonus points if it doesn't cost any money. I know, it's a toughie. But yes, so next month, as Michelle said, next month we're so excited. We are bringing the youths. We actually have youth people. Get ready. We're going to talk to one of our alumni from the mentoring. They're going to talk about why they decided to join mentoring, what it was like to be mentored, be a mentee, growing up through that program, and where they are today. And I can't wait to get insights. I always love to hear from the amazing youth that we work with. So that's next month, date to be determined, but make sure you check out our Facebook page. We will make the event for it probably within the next coming week. As always, if any of this sounded interesting or you want to know more information, you can always email us, info@allthingsmadenew.net. You can go to our website and contact any of us individually. We are more than happy to talk about this forever. This is our favorite topic, so we are happy to have that conversation. If you want to get connected and you think that you have a kid in your life that could really use a mentor, we are more than happy to be that for them. You can contact us. We also are looking for volunteers, volunteer mentors, as well as we have a bunch of different type of volunteer opportunities. If you want to be a bright light in a kid's life right now, we can make it happen. You can always donate. We love those sustaining funds to keep this program going, to make sure we have those emergency funds to help out with families who are in need. And if you are a nonprofit that is watching right now, or someone who works in a nonprofit, we would love to partner with you. We love sharing those resources and making sure the people who need the most get connected with what they need. So if you have that, let us know. But yeah, every month we'll have Mentoring Matters. Next month we will have a mentee who went through our program. But right now, but before we end it, thank you so much, Maggie.
Yes, thank you, Maggie.
Yes,
Thank you for inviting me, Michelle, and all of you.
Anytime, please come back.
I know you have more great tips like cups. Who would have thunk?
I just live with my fiance. I'm going to use that at my house. No, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, I don't have mine yet, so I'm going to go last. But if we would like to go around, yes, Devin, what is your self-care?
I'm going to go first, and I have two, and I'm going to go first because I think Michelle might try to take one of mine. So,
Okay.
for self-care, I pick weeds and I ride my bike.
You stinker!
I'm like, girl, she's going to try to take it.
I totally love picking weeds. It is so
I know you
therapeutic
do.
to
Me
get to that
too.
root. So mine would be picking weeds. It doesn't sound like self-care, but it is. I
So
promise
therapeutic.
you feel so accomplished.
Yes.
And I do like bike rides, but I'm going to come up with two others. I like to go just for a walk around the block.
Okay.
And I love crossword like word searches.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a journal girl. Oh, sorry. Go, Maggie. Go.
No. Go. No, you go.
I'm a journal girl, so I do journal, and I love sunshine. So for me, getting out in the sunshine, that fills my cup for sure. And exercise of any kind right now, but dance. I love dance. Just getting my body going. That fills my cup too.
I love to dance too. That's awesome.
That sounds like fun. I can't believe y'all. We should have a support group for weed pickers, because I don't know if that's necessarily self-care for me, but weeds do drive me crazy. So ask my son. He's like, not again, Mom. But I do like to journal. I like to read. But I think during this time, in the early mornings before it gets hot, I live out in the country, so I've been going for walks, and that they can turn to like an hour and a half. And that's really nice because I've seen owls, I've seen deer, cows, of course, they're everywhere. So that's been really nice for me. I'll miss that.
Yeah. That's mine as well. My very regimented and very on schedule fiance, early morning person, gets up at 5:30 to like take the dogs out, and then I drag myself out of bed at 7. And then we go for an hour walk with the dogs every single morning together. No phones, just 2 ridiculous dogs and the quiet streets around our neighborhood before it gets too hot, because that's key. And I desperately need vitamin D, so going outside is incredibly good for me, no matter how cranky I am in the morning. And it's become a really nice routine. And you know what? No, I didn't do it for about 2 weeks in July, and I
can feel it.
I felt every day that I didn't go out for a walk, I was just I had less spark in me. So even a walk makes a difference.
Even a 10-minute walk. It doesn't have to be long. I mean, anything just to change your environment, get a little heart rate. You don't have to come in
Yep.
sweat. My whole thing is I don't like to wash my hair every day. So it's like totally telling all my secrets.
Our list is really long, so the dogs will fall
yeah.
asleep.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Gonna be true about this. So they'll
But be
just
encouraged, people. It doesn't have to be super long.
no, it doesn't. It can be simple. I love the crossword idea. I have a huge crossword puzzle book. I might get that out as well. I don't have weeds to pull, so I can't.
I love the dancing idea. I love the dance.
I do too.
We need a dance party, y'all.
That's right. So my community, we did that every Tuesday and Thursday.
Ooh.
We still do. We dance. Now that I'm back to work, though, I don't know
Oh,
how that's going to work out. But yeah, we dance every morning, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I love that.
Pretty
I
cool.
love it.
Line
Thank
dance. Everybody learns it. It's the same dances over and over. I know all the line dances.
Nice. Well, you're in Texas, so you should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who's here. Thank you, Michelle, Devin, Aisha. Special thank you to Maggie.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone
you.
who watched.
Thank you.
And we will see you next month.
Yes. Y'all are amazing. Hearts.
Bye,
Hearts.
Oh, yes,
guys.
hearts.
Hearts.
Bye.
And
Thank you, guys.
Bye.